My name is Tawanda Chihambakwe. I am a technology entrepreneur based in Zimbabwe. I lead a technology business called Precision Aerial Group that primarily is involved in drone technology as well as robotics automation for enterprise solutions. So Precision Aerial has been running as a business for about 8 years now. But prior to that, I think I got involved in the drone industry probably about 3 years prior or 2 years prior to the point at which we registered our business. Initially, my interest in drones started as a hobby and something that caught my eye and interest in the early days when drones first became commercially available for civilians outside of obviously the military use of drones. This must have been around about late 2015. Around about that time, my interest grew in that way, and what I ended up doing is actually purchasing a number of different types of drones, importing them, and essentially teaching myself how to fly and operate them without necessarily a commercial use case or commercial application that I was looking at, but simply just enjoying how this new technology was giving us a new perspective that we weren't previously able to get a hold of and be able to see. In that desire and that drive to kind of, grow my hobby and to learn more about the technology, I then began to see different use cases. And as the world started to open up, must have been now probably, I would say, mid-2016, we then looked and said, look, I think at the end of the day, we've got to find a way to make this technology have an impact and use it in a way that is meaningful to different communities and in the people that we're wanting to serve. We're in an industry that is new, that is nascent, that is largely unknown and untapped. We got into the industry at a very early stage when the commercial applications had not been developed. We've been privileged to be able to see these applications grow more and more year on year, and people are now using the technology in different ways, in ways that we never even imagined. But one of the things that we've really seen over time is that our role has really been to create awareness and to bring the technology to the people, to help be forerunners in helping people to understand how the technology works. I remember back in 2018, Precision Aerial was one of the first commercial drone companies to actually introduce agricultural drones into Zimbabwe. Not only in Zimbabwe, but I think across Southern Africa, there were very few companies at the time that were even starting to use the technology in that way. So we quickly looked and saw the use case for it and took our role and position to really work on bringing awareness. So we reached out to individual farmers, we reached out to the government to try and conscientize them and bring them awareness around the use cases. For us, we've seen the impact in us, being pioneers and innovators in the space and in driving for the adoption of the technology. That's really been important for us in our journey. We've done the same as well in the areas of using drones for disaster management. I think we've pioneered that use case within Zimbabwe as well, working with the Civil Protection Unit and really bringing that out of certain disaster situations that have taken place. We've seen also us doing pioneering work within bringing awareness to drones for conservation management and youth education and other various applications of the technology. So it's really been a good journey for us in terms of seeing what we've been able to do and also seeing others now following in our footsteps. I founded Precision Aerial Group on my own. I am a single founder. And in that regard, I think even just in our journey and building the business, I've now learned the value of having a co-founder and having someone who can support you, in the times when the business is going through difficulties, in having someone you can lean on in terms of their different skill set and also their access to their network as well. The value of that cannot be understated. Having a co-founder is an important thing. And I think one of the challenges we found as a business in growing in this space is that we are really, really involved in the technology aspect of things. We're really, really involved in developing solutions and working with our customers, be it one-on-one in terms of the customers or businesses. And you would think that the technology is the core focus and that everyone would appreciate technology and celebrate the adoption of technology. But one of the things we found is that like any other business, Businesses face challenges, you face competition, you face difficult things that sometimes are hard to swallow. Drones fall under aviation. They are a section under aviation. We call it unmanned aviation. So drones are regulated as aircraft, and for a lot of people, it's hard to swallow because the rules around that are then difficult or seemingly difficult for those who don't have the understanding of why we need to emphasize on safety. The things we've seen is that a lot of people want to have access to technology, but not necessarily go through the process of learning and understanding what's required from a safety perspective. They just want to be able to, buy their drone and go and fly. Our country, like any other country, is regulated in terms of the use of drone technology. Our country is regulated through the Civil Aviation Authority, which is a division under the Ministry of Transport, similar to many other countries. And in Zimbabwe, we are actually fortunate in that our Civil Aviation Authority has been very open-minded in terms of how they regulate and ensuring that they put in place safety and put safe measures in place to allow the use of drones. Zimbabwe stands out amongst the Southern African community as having probably one of the most conducive environments when it comes to the use of drones. If you look at other countries like South Africa, where it's actually a lot more difficult to operate drones in the country because their regulations are a lot stricter than what ours are. It's not to say ours are lax, but I think our civil aviation has been, more open to looking at things case by case and context. Also, when it comes to the security aspect of drones, it's important that people gain the knowledge necessary to understand the differences between the drones. Some drones are less of a risk than others. And in some cases, you find other people are potentially, when they're bringing in a drone, they'll be stopped by security agents or maybe defense or military and questioned to say, okay, why are you doing what you're doing? What is the purpose of what you're trying to do? And really, it's an issue of knowledge and understanding. So my real, I think, perspective on that has been to say it's important that anyone who wants to use the technology needs to take the time to go and learn and understand what are the things required. Also then looking at our regulator to say, hey, can we work together to also make the rules a bit more open to allow more access to people whilst ensuring safety at all times.